Hello, and welcome to Word Processing Module 3, Formatting Text and Graphics. These will be the topics that we'll discuss in Module 3 as we prepare for the assignments that go along with this module. The first one is called Format Painter, and you'll find that on the Home tab in the clipboard group called Format Painter. So this is a pretty exciting tool. What it does is you take one specific topic or title or side heading and you select it, and then you decide on what font type, style you want, font size, color, any text effects, underline, whatever you want to do to it when it comes to formatting. Have it all set up. Then you paint it by double-clicking the Format Painter with it selected, and then you can go through the rest of the document and paint any word or side heading by just dragging across and painting that style on as many other topics that you want. It's a pretty cool feature that we'll practice in the assignments. The next is working with the text alignment. So in the Home tab, in the paragraph group, you have four different alignments. The default is left, which is Control L, center, Control E, right, Control R, and justify. This is the line spacing, like single space, double spacing. So it's the same paragraph over and over again. This one is left aligned, so everything's even at the left and it's a little uneven on the right. Center alignment is centered on the left and the right because it's in center in the middle of the document. And then right alignment, it's flush on the right side and uneven on the left. And then the last one, justify alignment, it's perfectly even on the left as well as the right, like you would see in magazines or newspaper articles. Next would be converting something that you originally set up into tabs, but maybe it would be easier on the eye to see it in a table format. So you can take what you've already typed and put it into a table by just converting it from tabs to a table. So all you would need to do is select all of the information that you have. Looks like the course, the type of schedule that you have, and then the days of the week. And it's uneven right now because the tabs weren't set properly. And then what you would do is go to Insert Table, and there's actually a feature called Convert Text to Table. Then you would select that it's already set by tabs, and you can tell that it's going to work because it's already set up to show 5 columns and 6 rows. And then you click OK, and it automatically converts it to a table. You can also add borders and shading. So on the Home tab, in the paragraph group, right next to the line spacing and the alignment, the tipped over paint bucket is shading, and immediately to the right of that is borders. The default border is a bottom border. But if you click the down arrow to the right of it, you get all of these options. So you notice that the very first one was bottom border, and that's the default settings. But if you want anything else, you would choose the down arrow. Once you go into borders, you can, it'll make sure that it says text, and you can customize it. This is the default setting, which is a bottom border, but you could have it on the left, the top, and the right, and you can choose different styles of the line that you want instead of the default setting. You can add color to it, and you can add thickness to that text. And then you would get a preview of what it looks like. You could even, it's not showing here, but there's one for shading, so you could add shading color into this text as well. And then you would click OK. The shading that I just talked about, you could do it both where we just were in the borders, or you can do it separately in the shading. So the default shading would be just no shading, no color, or you could choose the down arrow and select any color you'd like and go to more colors. So this is the other place that you could set it. We were in borders before. We'll get into page borders later. We were in borders before, and then you go to the third tab, which is shading, and you can fill a color. So this does not have a border, but you could choose, it is showing the shading, but you could choose a line border around the entire area. To add a completely new table, the first one we did was a conversion. If you wanted to create it for the first time, you would choose Insert tab and then Table. And you can use the grid where you want to have 6 columns and then 6 rows. So you can go, the more you have columns and the more you have rows. Now, if you wanted 20 rows, the grid does not show that many. What you would do is go into Insert Table and you would manually type 6 columns and 20 rows, and then it would generate the table for you. But if it's a small enough table, you can use this grid right here, and you would just click in the last one and you would automatically you can see it here. And also, when you're moving this around, the table keeps moving in, so you can get a preview of what it looks like. Of course, the more columns you have, the narrower the row they become. So if you notice after Thursday, you need to add Friday, another column. These are called insert controls, and if you just hover on any of the boundaries, the borders between the columns, you get that little plus sign, and you would just click it and you'll instantly get a new column. The same thing happens if you wanted something between feed, fish, and dishes. If you hover, you would get the plus circle, which is the insert control, and you could add more rows. This box right here with the arrows in it, if you click it, it selects the entire table for you. You could also choose, instead of using those circle plus signs for inserting more columns and inserting more rows, you could be in a particular row or cell, and you can choose insert above or below, and again, you could insert a column left or right. You can also right-click and then choose Insert, and again, it's the same columns, left, right, rows, above, below, same things. There's also delete cells. So this is a right-click shortcut. Always more than one way to do something in Word. When you choose delete, it'll come up with this shortcut menu. Do you want to delete just a cell, a whole column, a row, or the entire table? And you get that same option if you were to use the toolbar in the ribbon. The standard table is just plain. There's no fancy shading or anything. If you select, and these are 2 new tabs because the table is selected. So if you were in the word weekly, your cursor, you wouldn't have this tab. This tab, Table Tools, Design and Layout, only appears if you're actually in the table. So if you were over here in the date, July 1st, and you didn't see this tab, it's because you're not in the table. So click anywhere in the table and this will appear. And anything that it's a new tab based on an object, and the table is considered an object, and it's called a contextual tab. It's extra based on the object, whether it's a picture or a table or a chart. So you have this new one, Table Tools, Design and Layout. Be careful, there's Design and Layout here, but it's Table Tools Design, Table Tools Layout. The layout would be where you would insert columns or rows or delete. The design is when you want to change the layout of or design of the chart, the table. Of course, the down arrow always means more options, and there are many more to choose from. You could do a plain standard, or you could go into grid tables, and then they have list. So if you scroll down, there's many more to choose from. And as you hover over the different tables, you get a preview of what it would look like on your table. And then you select one, and you can always go back and change something else if you decide to change your mind. Pictures. Inserting pictures. So you can click the tab, Insert, and choose Pictures. can also right-click, insert pictures. And you can choose from this device if you've saved something there, stock images, or online pictures. So this one is getting a picture that you've saved on file, and you go to this PC, under the folder Pictures, and you select whatever picture you want and click Insert. When you do the online search, Microsoft Office will automatically take you to a Bing image search, so you can search for images. By default, it's the Bing search, and these are images that are licensed under what's called Creative Commons, and you'll see that right here as soon as you type your topic. And what that means is you can use these pictures in the Bing search under Creative Commons, so make sure it has that check mark there, for your own projects, whatever you're creating for the assignments within this class. You should click the link to the images website to see if there are any restrictions, though, if you were to use it for anything else. But ones that are tied in with Creative Commons and the Bing search are allowable. So in the topic I chose was flowers, and left it as Creative Commons so I could use the pictures that are available here. And you just scroll through and select the one that you'd like. Now, once you select the picture, again, it's an object, so up at the toolbar, you'll have a new tab that says Picture. And once you click that tab, the ribbon will adjust to things that you can adjust with the picture selected. So the first thing you'll notice, it has a box around it with circles, so that means the object is selected. So this would be, if you wanted to slightly rotate the picture left or right. This double arrow is if you want to resize the picture. Now you can resize it from the middle arrows, and when you hover over, you'll get a double arrow, and you can change the width of it. If you go to the arrows on the top in the middle or the bottom, again, it'll go to double arrows, and you can change the height of it. If you use the one in the corner, the diagonal, that will both resize the height and the width at the same time. If you want to move the picture, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have these 4 arrows, and once you do have the 4 arrows, then you're allowed to move the picture. But when you first insert a picture, it's called inline with text, so it's an inline with the wherever your paragraph started, new portal, so it won't move freely. So in order to have it wrap smoothly, you have to click Layout Options, and your best option is to choose Square or Tight. There's other options here if you wanted to have it in front of or behind text, but the first one is fine. Then you're able to move it very freely within the document. There are other ways that you can move it so that it's in line with the margins specifically, so you don't have to worry, because some people moved the picture and they moved it so far to the edge that when it's time to print, it's outside the margin area and only half of the picture prints. So if you want to avoid that, you could choose from the Picture Tools Format, Picture, and you could have it at the top left corner, top center, top right, middle, and the bottom. And it'll automatically put it in the center, but within the margin, so it'll print nicely. So you could do it that way. The other way, that if you're moving it manually and you want to make sure that you're not putting it too far into the margin and it won't print, you'll get what's called margin grid lines, and it's a green line that shows up when you're moving your picture, and you want to make sure the picture stays inside the green marker. Another pretty neat feature is cropping, just like you would crop pictures if you have a picture with family members and there's something in the background that you want to remove. You can use these markers that I'll show you in a minute to crop them out. So you can do that as well with pictures online. So if I wanted to get rid of the excess pictures on the side, I would use these markers again, choose crop from the picture tools. And if you want to just bring it in, when you hover over here with your mouse, the mouse marker will change to like a bold letter T, and you just drag